Looks great on you. All right. We're going to do a weekend recap, but it's not your normal style of weekend recap. JD, I'm going to throw it over to you. How'd you do over the weekend? But more importantly, what did you think of the games that we saw? What did you take away from some of the biggest games of the weekend? And I think the first game we should start on and talk about was the first big game on Saturday. We're going to be talking about the Texas-Ohio State game. So, JD, over to you. Break it down.
Yeah, man, as far as the weekend, Saturday was definitely not my best day. Was definitely on the wrong side of some of those games. Sunday, I actually took the day off. That was very nice just to kind of reset. So as far as last month, did finish the month up, which is always a nice thing.
Absolutely.
And then yesterday went actually 6-2 and had a nice big day to start the month. So definitely love that. But yeah, getting into the game Saturday. Did you just ask me to talk about a certain game?
Yes, Texas, Ohio State, the big one.
That game, man, there's a lot that could be said here. Let me try to trim this down. As far as the defenses both looked good. We had definitely thought that was going to be the case there.
Absolutely.
As far as the Ohio State defense getting that stop on the 1 yard line, that was huge. As far as the entire game, I mean, that was a huge play in the game. What I was surprised about, as far as when you're looking at all your standard stats after the game, and when you look at those, and then as far as the models, most models say that Texas had a 85% chance to win that game. I thought that was wild. I mean, yes, it was a close game, and actually, when you're looking at actually like EPA and all those types of things, I can kind of see it. But from just watching the game, I didn't see that whatsoever.
Yeah, I agree with you there, JD. I mean, what did you think about Arch? I mean, let's go over Arch's stat line. He was 17 of 30 on the game, 170 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Really could have been multiple interceptions. Got quite lucky on a few plays. He had a QBR of a 58, which is really bad if you know anything about the QBR metric. So what did you think about Arch Manning's big debut with the number 1 preseason ranked Texas in this game, only being able to get 7 points?
Yeah, it was not good. I think there's lots of reasons for that, though. First off, I'm not sure if actually kind of like Joe in the comments saying that he was just kind of in his own head there because his first few passes there, he like just missed. I mean, they were kind of wild. And I'm not sure if ever since then he was just kind of in his head, and because he had some passes that were just so far off. I mean, actually, like he was overthrowing guys. And Hawkeye, that was going to be my next point. I did not like how Sark and just how that game was called. He did not get in his bag whatsoever. And I was really expecting that. And
why do you think that is? Do you think Arch isn't showing him enough to open up the playbook?
I think it was the first start for Arch actually like on the road, being there, just actually like a hostile and like environment. But I expected something though, and we just didn't get it. Like it was just not there. So I don't know if just because he saw like how the game started and then just never got to it. But that's kind of my takeaway there. I don't think that this Texas offense is as poor as actually what they looked like.
Yeah.
So that's what I would take away from this. As far as the Ohio State side, saying once again, he didn't really do anything special either. But that was another thing where the play calling was simple. They didn't have him really do much.
Also, with saying, in terms of talking about him, Ohio State receivers let him down. I mean, Jeremiah Smith, have you seen him play a worse game than that? He had so many drops with the ball hitting him blatantly in the hands. I believe he had 3 drops on the game, which is very unlike him in that one. And not only him, I mean, the 4th down in the first quarter, he hit the tight end, the transfer in the hands, in stride, dropped the ball. I mean, I thought Sayin played a pretty good game. He only had 7 incompletions. They didn't fully open up the playbook, kind of, as you were alluding to. They didn't have him slinging it all over the field, but he didn't make any mistakes. He didn't have any turnovers. I thought he played pretty well in terms of kind of being a game manager. In that style, I didn't think that he was going to try and go out there, sling the ball, win the game that way. They're still Ohio State. They're still going to rely on that top-tier elite defense, which we saw in full effect in this game. But I thought Sayan did a great job. Honestly, I thought he was a good game manager-style quarterback, didn't put the team in any danger, and the receivers really let him down. Jefe, we haven't heard from you at all on this one yet. What did you think about Arch?
Honestly, thought it was just bad. It's a bad week one matchup for a player who had a lot of pressure on him, going up against a team that has the same exact level of talent as his team does. I think if this game was week 5 and Texas got to play their next 3 games, which are against absolute nobodies, no offense to the San Jose States and the Houstons of the football world, if you would have got a little bit of the playbook under him, I think you would have seen a different game plan. Honestly, from both teams, to be honest with you. I think having the big game to start off the season is rough in college football because there's no preseason. There's so many different players coming in and out nowadays with the transfer portal. It's tough for them to get into a rhythm. And even with Arch, I think it's tough for him to get into rhythm. I totally agree with that. I think it was a tough environment versus a defense, by the way, that has a new defensive coordinator coming from, I forgot where he came from. Is it Matt Patricia?
Yes, I believe it's Matt Patricia, right?
Patricia,
He's been with them? Yeah.
He's a new defensive coordinator over there. Yeah. He's been coaching. I mean, we're not going to go through his rep. He's a legend. I think it was tough.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. And Matt Patricia is a great coach. It's a great addition to that team for him on that defensive staff, leading the defense. We all know he can coach. We all know he's been a head coach in the NFL as well, and a defensive coordinator, So he has a lot of experience, and Ohio State looked good. We all know the stories as well with Ohio State's defense. They only returned 3 starters from last year, but those 3 starters are absolute dudes and
you could
dogs.
make a case those 3 starters are the best 3 players in their defense.
Correct. It could be 3 of the top 5 defensive players in the country, realistically. I mean, they anchored that team. They looked fantastic. JD, over to you. What else did you think about this game?
Man, we really kind of went over all of it there. Well, at least the main parts. I think, though, the wildest part about this game is Ryan Day coming out with a little nip bling there, man. That was wild.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't know. Everyone saw the picture. I don't know if I believe it, but
so what else could it be?
I think someone altered a photo. Very easily that can be altered. In today's day and age, with the shit we're seeing, I mean, realistically, I don't believe that in the slightest. I mean, that would be – what a story that would be. Let's be honest. But, I mean, personally, I think that was 100% an altered photo. I do not think that was a real photo there. Jefe, do you have any thoughts about this game before we move on to a couple other games that were some big storylines, including Florida State taking down DeBoer?
Yeah, that was a big one. I think Texas is going to be fine. I really do. I think their next 3 games are against teams that they're going to beat. Arch will put up good numbers, and by week 5, when they're 3-1, this will all be forgotten about. But I think Ohio State is most definitely, not that they weren't before this game, but they are most definitely on back-to-back watch. It's the offense will come as they get more reps. Being what the defense was last week, if they can have that, they are going to have a good season.
I could agree more. So, I mean, before we move off this game, we all know the storylines of Arch is the preseason favorite to win the Heisman. By the way, a little trivia for anyone out there, which I heard at the start of the game, so you may have heard this as well. Who is the last person who is the preseason favorite to win the Heisman who actually won the Heisman? Do either of you know, or anybody in the chat know the answer to that question?
How long ago was it?
Decently long ago. The person who won it is no longer in the NFL.
Matt Leinart.
Yes. Yes, that is correct. Well done, Jefe. The last quarterback or last player who was the preseason favorite to win the Heisman. You are correct. Matt Leinart. So, the odds have already been stacked up against Arch. The last thing I'm going to say before we move on from this game, but does anyone think he looked like a Heisman? I know it's the first game of the year, but I mean, it's not like it was Julian Sayin where receivers were dropping the ball. Arch was missing, and he was missing badly. It's only one game. You can't overreact to it, but, I mean, this kid's got a lot of pressure. More pressure probably than any quarterback we've seen in the last few years. He's got the name. He's got the family. He's got you're going to be a first-round pick. Teams were tanking for Arch last year. So I think it was a very interesting first game. Any other comments before we move on? Our guy David is here. We know he was all over Ohio State in every single way possible. So I know that was a great day for you, David. And Connie, you were correct. It was Matt Liner. Anything from you guys before we move on to the Florida State-Alabama game?
No, I mean, I didn't think Arch was going to win the Heisman anyway. We're not really talking about who I think was the biggest winners of the weekend. I can get into that.
I mean, we should. Why aren't we talking about that?
Well, we were just talking about this game. I'll get into that before we move topics, but I do have somebody that I think really, really showed out this weekend, and depending on how his team goes and on his schedule, could easily be a Heisman favorite.
Who do you think's the favorite right now?
If I had to guess without looking, it's probably Nussmeier from LSU.
That's what I would think.
Or, Carson Beck didn't play that well.
Well, you've said two of the top three. You got Nussmeier and for Nussmeier, phenomenal way to say it.
Then the third one is the guy that I'm thinking of. Is he an SEC quarterback?
Yes. There's a lot of them.
No, he's the one I'm thinking about. It's Lenore Sellers, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's one. I was extremely impressed with Lenore Sellers.
Breaking news. Little NFL breaking news. The Giants' official depth chart has just been released. Who is quarterback 2?
Jameis Winston.
It is not. It is Jackson Dart. Had to get that in there. Just got the alert. Jackson Dart's officially the QB2 for the Giants this year, and Jameis Winston is QB3. Interesting there. JD, some question to you. Sorry, I had to get a little Giants in there. Heisman, after week 1, anything you like or anyone you would take a chance on? Because let me go over the top odds right now. And a lot of people know you can't bet Heisman odds. Me personally, I was just in New York, so it's nice being back in my home state. I could see the odds again. I couldn't even see them up for that state because they don't have it. But you got Nussmeier plus 800, Lenore Sellers plus 1,000, Carson Beck plus 1,100, Gunnar Stockton plus 1,200, and then you get Cade Klubnik plus 1,400, who was dog shit, and Dante Moore plus 1,600, the kid from Oregon. Any of those make you want to take a risk? I mean, or a chance at least. The only one I think I would take a chance on at the plus 1,100 would be Carson Beck. He looked like the real deal. He really did. You can't deny how well he played. We'll talk about that game in a few minutes, but anyone outside Carson Beck you guys think's worth taking a risk on right now or a small chance?
For me, at these odds, not after week 1, I do have to disagree with you on actually Carson Beck, but actually we can get into that a little bit later.
Fine. We will, because I want to know why you disagree with me. Good. I don't want you to ride with me either. Good. Aiden got Nussy at a plus 1,200. Good price right now. He's currently at a plus 800. So good to see LV.
The problem is, take a look at LSU's schedule.
I know.
And that's the issue. Like, I know about.
Yeah, but they got a defense. That's going to be the third game we talk about. I promise. We will talk about LSU.
I know we're about to get into Bama. They don't get no easier for them. They got a schedule from freaking hell.
JD, I know I told you that, I don't know if we're going to have enough to talk about in this college football segment before the show started. Boy, was I fucking wrong. I have so many more things that I anticipated that I want to talk about, so I am wrong about that. But I tweeted 7 minutes ago our thoughts on the Florida State-Alabama game, so I was a little premature on that. Sorry if you guys tuned in for that. We haven't gotten to it yet. But let's tap in to the Florida State Seminoles, who took down the Alabama Crimson Tide 31-17. And let's be honest, Tommy Castellanos, a true dog. He called out Bama, and he backed it up. 9 of 14 passing on the game, 152 yards. But more importantly than that, he had 16 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown. That's a 5.0 average per carry. He was unbelievable in this game. You know who was not unbelievable in this game? That would be Ty Simpson. Yes. He was 23 of 43 for 254 and 2 tutties. Yes, he had no interceptions, but man, was he bad in my opinion. Did he look like he was going to be a liability for this Alabama team? I think so. JD, over to you. We had Alabama. We had Florida State. What did you take away from this game and thoughts about Alabama getting boat raced? Because this wasn't even a game. Let's be honest. This game was over very early. You knew Florida State was the winner early in this game. JD.
Yeah, there's a lot that can be broken down here, and that's the thing that I think fucked up Bama right from the start was because right from the start, it seemed like FSU just had this huge lead, which is through parts of the game. This game was like it wasn't as the scoring was not as wide as actually like what it felt like.
Yeah. No, they were getting dominated all game.
It just felt like it was like they were getting blown out. When in actually reality, they really weren't. But just like you said, as far as Ty Simpson, he passed the ball how many times? Like 43 times? Okay, that is not their game. If they have to have him pass 43 times, something's going wrong. They went away from the run, in my opinion, early, way too early. But that's because, like we just talked about, it felt like they were just down by a ton when they actually weren't down by that much. And that's what I think one of the biggest problems they had there. So as far as the coaching goes there, I think a lot has to go with there. As far as I forgot where I was going there, but get back on track here.
Well, let me jump in here, JD. A couple words. We have a good question here from Aiden. How do you feel if you're Nick Saban? You're fucking fired up.
Yeah,
you're fired up that this team has been this bad. What was the stat that I saw? There was something. No, that was a different game. Yeah, Saban really, I'm sure, is very happy that he's no longer a part of this program. He's sitting on college football game day, getting to talk about the games and watching this program be a shell of themselves without him there. We talked about it last week, JD. Alabama was one of the worst road teams in the SEC last year. I believe they had 4 losses on the season. Well, they already have one this year to a team like Florida State that coming into this, they're coming in off a 2-10 season. They were not projected to be one of the best teams in the SEC, and they really got manhandled. Jefe, we haven't gone over to you. Before we go back over to JD to get more thoughts from him, what do you think about Alabama, and what do you think about Florida State? Because they really do look good.
They're going to go as far as the quarterback can take them. They have been in a tough spot since that year where they were undefeated.
Yes, FSU ACC. Yes, FSU ACC. If I messed that up, I apologize. Yes, they're in the ACC.
I was, not to switch gears to another team, but FSU has a chance in the ACC. Clemson, to me, was going to be the team that I thought was going to run away with this, honestly. I was not impressed with them. We'll get to that game. If Kessler
That's next.
If Kessler is going to be this type of player, both from a leadership aspect and making these throws, he made some tough throws. They're going to be good. They're coached well. But really about Alabama, what upset me, or what I haven't seen in a really long time, is Alabama is usually the most physical team, even in their losses.
Yeah.
They just make, whatever, a fumble here, interception there. They can't make a play there, but they're never like out physical. You know what I mean? They're never missing tackles. They're never not creating big rushing lanes. They had less than 90 rush yards in the game. That never happens. They, like JD said, they passed way too much. In my lifetime, I've never seen Alabama do that. Be that unbalanced. But where it really hit is, I'm going to go back to it, physicality on defense from Alabama was nowhere to be found. There were times in that game where you looked at the score, and I'm not going to pull it up, but I think Bama scored really early in the fourth.
Yes.
To get it within a touchdown, I think. And even then, it just never felt like the Bama was a stop away from getting the ball back and tying this game up. It just never felt that close. You just felt like FSU at any time could just turn it on and get a first down when needed, and Bama was just not there.
You know what it was, Jefe? You know what I felt like as well? Whenever Castellanos needed a play, whenever this Florida State's offense needed a play, a big third down, they got to play every time. They got to play every time, and it felt like every time Alabama needed to play, Simpson was getting sacked, and it was ending the drive. You're right. The whole game felt like Florida State was fully in control. The score does not reflect how different of skill these two teams looked during that game.
It's week 1, and I am not going to read into this.
Exactly what Cook said. It's still week 1.
Yeah, DeBoer is a good coach, guys. He is a good coach.
I don't know.
He has a few weeks here to figure it out before they just start. Did they play at Georgia in 2 weeks? Because that would be really bad.
I have a question for you. What do you think happens? Let's say Billy B, Uncle Bill, down in Chapel Hill, down in JD's neck of the woods. Let's say he gets shit canned, which If you watch that game, we'll get to it. Let's say he gets shit canned. How quickly do you think the Alabama fans will want him coming there? I mean, they already had the geezer and Saban running the program for years. Might as well bring in Billy B, the geezer, as well. You're already seeing people talking about that. I'm obviously teasing a bit. I think that's a terrible idea. But I could see a big push for that coming soon if both chips fall the way they look like they may.
I'm going to tell you, we usually only do this in the NFL because you never get a chance to do this in college football. But there's nothing worse than a week one overreaction.
100%.
All of this will be settled. And I think something that college football, us as fans, have to realize, we have been groomed our entire life that if you get one loss, your season is over.
It's different now.
Now, one loss to a good team doesn't mean squat shit. Alabama is very much so going to be in playoff contention. Texas is very much so going to be in playoff contention. Clemson's very much so going to be in playoff contention. Onwards and onwards and onwards.
I don't know about Clemson.
We can argue that, but my point is, one loss to a good team does not mean your season's over anymore.
100%.
It just doesn't.
100%. You're absolutely correct. Now with the playoffs expanding, absolutely agree with you. JD, before we move on to your preseason Heisman pick, I'm sorry, got to do you like that. Anything else you want to add on this game before we get into the Fighting Cade Klubniks?
Yeah, guys, sorry about that. On my screen, I had something pop up somebody sent me, and it totally threw me off there. Yeah, as far as this Bama team, here's what I don't like. Most people are just saying that I actually like Bama sucks. Bama sucks. I think you can't say that. I think you have to give credit to FSU here. I think that FSU actually did play that well. Yep. And you can't just say that Bama sucks. Like, I just don't – I think that takes away from actually what Florida State did. So that's the first thing. Another thing, Bama, as far as their running back, their main running back, as far as one of their main defensive pieces did not play in this game. They will be back. So you also have to remember that.
There's some good lines, JD. I pulled that up because we were just talking about it. There are some awesome lines in regards to a couple of these things. That like, if Alabama will make the playoffs right now, they are a minus 230 to not make the playoffs right now. Clemson's still a minus 120 to make the playoffs, so they think they will. But there's a lot of very interesting betting opportunities after week one.
For sure. And as far as FSU, what helped them is that on first down, they were able to run the ball. They were able to get that 4 to 5 yards, and then that opened up so much. And then as far as on the other side, we saw it on actually Bama's first drive. They looked great. They were running the ball down their throat. They were actually running the ball outside. They were running the ball, and they looked great. And actually,
they looked great.
And went right down and actually scored a touchdown. But right after that, FSU answered right back, and then they got away from that the rest of the game.
Yep.
And so anyway, I'm saying that Alabama is not as bad. That's what most people think. And Florida State, I'm not going to say that they're not as good as people may think now, because I think that actually they are good. That was the biggest thing. That was why I chose Bama in that game, was because they had so many transfers. Like, this was a whole new fucking team. Yeah. And I didn't think that they would be able to gel that well in actually week one. Like, that was part of my, like, that's why I chose the other side. Yeah. And they showed that they did. They looked great. They looked like they had been there. They've done that. And as far as coaching, that has to go straight to that.
Yeah.
So I have to give credit to actually like FSU just across the board there. I mean,
yeah, they were great. You have to give credit to FSU, especially after how last year played out. They showed the fuck up and they played for Norvell. They had an absolute massive performance. Good for them. Good for their fans. Shout out to me and Jefe's boy Hunter, because I know he was in hell watching his Seminoles all last season. All right, boys, we got to keep it rolling here because we still have a couple college football games we need to touch on, and it's already 12:30, and we have a lot we still have to do on this show. So let's move over to the LSU-Clemson game. JD, I'm sorry to do it to you, my brother. I'm sorry. But your preseason Heisman selection was Cade Klubnik, and let me tell you something, Mr. JD. Boy, did he look like dog shit. But at the same time, boy, did LSU look like they got a fucking defense finally. So I don't know how much you could take away, because the Clemson offensive line was terrible and LSU was all over the field defensively. So I will say that while introing the game. Over to Klubnik's stats, 19 for 38 passing, 50%. 230 yards with 0 touchdowns and a pick. 31.4 QBR. Real bad QBR for Mr. Klubnik. On the other side, you have the Heisman favorite right now, Mr. Nussmeier. 28 of 38, 232 with a touchdown. His QBR was an 83. So not the biggest game from Nussmeier, but to go into Clemson, to go into Death Valley, to go in there and get a win was a huge statement for this team. And the defense of LSU looked like the real deal. Guys, the only question I have on this game is LSU for real and are Clemson frauds? JD, to you.
First off, yes. As far as the LSU defense, what a game.
What a game.
I did not think that they were going to be able to actually do that. That was part of my whole breakdown there, was that I thought that Clemson was actually going to be able to actually throw the actual ball in there and during that game. And, man, that actually LSU defense just looked outstanding. So, yes, if they can keep that up, if LSU can actually play like that, like if that wasn't, because this past weekend, like that was a huge game. They definitely got up big time for that game. So will they stay like that? And if they can, then actually, yes, like this is going to be a great team. As far as Clemson, do I think that they are overrated and all that? No. I think they ran into a team that played very well. Very well. So as far as the Heisman and all that, like I'm not going to completely write that off actually just based off of one game. Because he has plenty of games left where he can put up some crazy stats.
Absolutely.
And I'm also thinking that you'll see when they play some other teams that this offense does actually look really good.
They're also he's only plus 1,400, JD. The favorites plus 800, and then there's a slew of guys in between plus 1,000 and plus 1,300. So he's 100% still in the mix.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where these next couple weeks are some of my favorite weeks because people overreact to everything, and then actually we ended up getting some very good lines from actually all that. So it's definitely going to be interesting. But no, to me, like I said, just as far as Clemson, I do think that they'll be fine. I still think they're a very good team. And as far as LSU, like I said, if they can play anywhere near that actually level, they have a great team.
I would agree there. Jefe, we're not going to spend too much time on this game. We have a lot we still have to do on the show. We still have to go over our NFL futures. But what did you think about this one?
More impressed with Nussmeier than I am disappointed in Klubnik. Death Valley, he's a place to play. He showed poise. He made some really, really nice throws, but more so didn't make mistakes. LSU's defense is what this is going to come down to. We know that we can trust their offense, at least to do what they need to do. But if their defense plays like this, they're gonna have a tough schedule. SEC is tough football, but if they can play like this, watch out. They're gonna get a bye in the playoffs.
I'm with that. I am with that. I agree with you both on everything you said there. All right, boys, let's keep it rolling. The next game we want to talk about is going to be the Miami Notre Dame game. This is a game where, let me tell you something. I was a bit surprised watching this because Miami's defense it's another one of these defenses like LSU. I didn't think we're going to show up how they did, but they played a fantastic game. I know they still gave up a ton of points. I know Notre Dame still scored 24. I know Notre Dame made a late push in this game and got it close, but when they needed to, all game long, when Carson Beck needed a first down, he got it every single time. Every big moment, Carson Beck made the play in this game. I know it was a crazy catch by the receiver at the end of the first half as well, but he put the ball where it needed to be. JD, as always, I'm going to you. What did you think of Miami versus Notre Dame?
Miami, I was very impressed with as far as on both sides of the ball. And it kind of had me wondering, like, as far as the state, as far as Florida, man, is actually like Florida football back? Like, I mean,
looking like it.
Because them, and actually Florida State, and then we had USF.
Unfortunately, it does look like UCF is not back. I mean, I think I believe they won their first game, but they're going to be bad this year. Let's be honest. Sorry about UCF fans out there. I do not think they're a good team.
But yeah, Miami, yeah, they looked extremely good. I'm not as high on Beck as quite as you are. Because some of those passes he made, I personally don't think that they were good. A lot of them, or there was actually two of them that honestly, if it wasn't for some like just crazy play, they actually would have gotten picked. So I'm not quite as high as far as like saying like Heisman. As far as Beck, no, actually, like, did he play well? Yes. I actually will definitely say that.
You know what? The one thing that made me look a little differently at Beck was his decisiveness and his confidence. Like last year, you'd see him looking all over the field. He would hesitate. He wouldn't take a lot of risks. He would try and play conservative game. He was confident, and he was going at the read he wanted to and making a very quick decision. And that, to me, was the most impressive thing about him in the game.
Yeah. As far as Miami, I'll say this. They're going to have one thing that holds them back this season, and that is their coach. And he just always will. Like, as long as he's there, he's just always going to hold them back. He never plays to fucking win. He always plays to lose, and that's just what he does. So if anything that holds them back this season, it is going to be their coach.
You know who's going to kill Notre Dame? I'm only going to talk about this in a minute, but newly hired in February, Notre Dame defensive coordinator Chris Ash. Why the fuck did they hire Chris Ash? Let me tell you something. That guy kills every single program he goes to. The defense that they showed in that game was pathetic. You could have called up plays for that. When they needed 3 yards and have cornerbacks 8 yards off the receiver, they would run 2 yards and stop. And, of course, they're not going to be on them because they're playing 8 yards back. Ash didn't adjust the entire game. And Notre Dame, if they want to have any chance this year, they need to fire Chris Ash. He's that bad. I'm not joking about that either. He is going to single-handedly kill their season. That is definitely the biggest takeaway I had about Notre Dame. They should be a decent defense. They have talent all over the field. But when you saw where they were positioned, they were not in the right position for the types of plays they needed him to be in. So for me, I thought it was an awful game by the defensive coordinator for Notre Dame. And I'm going to monitor how that plays out because he's going to be a big role in this team. He's going to be commanding this defense. And Notre Dame needs a good defense. We saw what the offense is like. They're not bad, but they're going to need some good defensive play this year to make a run. And Chris Ash, to me, is just not that guy. That's my biggest takeaway, was the defensive coordinator from Notre Dame has to go immediately. Not an overreaction. This guy has sucked everywhere he's been over the last 10 years. Go look up his resume. Atrocious. Jefe, over to you. Thoughts?
Miami is going to go as far as Carson Beck takes them. And Carson Beck showed me in at least the first game that he could play against a top tier. In my opinion, it's a top tier defense. I mean, I know that they changed defensive coordinators. Marcus Freeman is still a fantastic defensive coach. And he was really the leader of that defense last year. I'm not sure if he's doing the play calling this year. Or
Chris Ash is taking over the play calling.
On offense is where I was disappointed in Notre Dame and vice versa, impressed with Miami's defense. That's never been Miami's identity as of late, and that's really interesting to see. If Miami can D up and then Carson Beck is playing mistake-less football, looking at their schedule right now, pretty solid. They got a tough one coming up in about a 2-week stretch here where they're going to have to play the Gators and the Seminoles back-to-back. And that is going to be where their season dies or absolutely rises to another level. So we're going to see what Miami's about by literally the first weekend in October, which is really interesting to me.
I'm with that. JD, what are your thoughts about this game? Then we only have one more we're going to talk about, and that's going to be Bill Belichick, and that'll be fun. JD, thoughts?
Yeah, really don't have like anything else here. As far as both of these Florida teams, I'm very interested to watch them over the next few weeks to see if this was more of a 1 week thing, or this is something that we're or if actually that's who these teams truly are.
Yep, I'm with that 1,000%. All right, boys. We have one more college game we're going to be breaking down. I'm just getting out the hype for that now. Also, David, I've been saying it for years. The Big Ten kicks the shit out of the SEC, especially Rutgers. All right, let's keep it rolling. All right, next game we're going to be talking about today, and the final game we're going to be talking about before we get into some NFL futures, is going to be TCU, who went down and beat the shit out of Billy Belichick. Let me tell you something. There ain't one thing that went well for North Carolina last night. Besides their opening drive, they took a 7-0 lead. They were looking all right. Looked like they had a chance in that game. Boy, did North Carolina look like the worst tackling team in the history of football? Did they look like the least disciplined team in the history of football? Did they look like the least competitive team in the history of football? That's what we saw from the plus 3.5 dogs last night against TCU. JD, we got to kick it over to you. What were your thoughts about Bill Belichick and North Carolina and your thoughts about TCU? But let's be honest here, the main storyline in this game was North Carolina.
Man, as actually being a big Duke fan, nothing makes me happier than sitting there and watching the Tar Heels lose.
Speaking of, where's our guy Tar Heel? We haven't seen him in a while. Tar Heel, if you're here, say what's up. We miss you, brother.
For sure. Yeah, last night, that was as far as reads go, that was probably my best read of the season. I had the TCU team total over. That one was nice, easy cash for me. And then I also had a little parlay with the TCU team total over paired with the TCU on the money line. So those are both nice and sweat-free.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, just really quick, as far as the TCU side, they did what I thought they would do, and actually, like, that would score points. You know, and that was even with the end of the game. They had, you know, took some guys out. You know, that wasn't a full go like the whole entire game. Yep. UNC was exactly what I thought they were going to be. They're just overhyped because of Bill. And, you know, I believe we talked about this probably months ago now. But, you know, I did not like this actually hire. Because as far as Bill, he's a pro's pro. Like, just the way he coaches, he's actually more of a quiet type. Whereas most college guys are more rah, rah, rah. Like, let's fucking go. Like, let's get up. Like, that's what most college coaches do. And Bill is just not that guy. So like, I understand that like people wanted to go and play Pressure him, but it's just, I mean, actually, like David said, to me, it's just not the right fit. I mean, and Bill was not, to me, he just didn't seem ready.
Neither did the team.
Right. I mean, as far as for what the college game is, he was just, I mean, yeah, he just wasn't ready for it. So
let me tell you something, JD. There's one thing to describe how this game went, and that is Gio Lopez's QBR, the quarterback of North Carolina. He finished the game 4 of 10, 69 yards with an interception, and he finished with a QBR of a 1.9, below a 2.0. Below a 2 QBR. One of the worst you'll ever fucking see. Let's go over to his rushing game. 7 carries for negative 10 yards. It's an average of minus 1.4 yards per carry. That was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen in the history of college football from a team that was less than a touchdown underdog. They went 2 hours and 26 minutes of real time between completions. Literally, they did not have a passing completion on the offensive side for 2.5 hours of real life time. I have never seen anything like that. And it wasn't like they weren't dropping back and passing the ball. They just had no completions for 2.5 hours. One of the worst offensive performances I have ever seen. Jefe, thoughts about this, and then we're going to get right into our NFL futures.
In the sake of time, I thought UNC was a 4-5 win team before they signed Bill Belichick, after they signed Bill Belichick, and I still think that after week 1, nothing's changed. I never believed in this team. I don't think Bill Belichick honestly thought that he was going to come in here and have a 10-win season either. This is a team that needs a full off season of transfer portals. This team needs a rebranding. I expected exactly what I saw, and I expect them to just kind of look like that and pick up a few random wins here and there throughout the season and, you know, go into the off season. I never expected anything.
J-Bo, by the way, I saw that at least 6 times in the game. They kept cutting to him, and you could clearly read his lips go, what the fuck, man? On repeat. That's all Belichick kept saying in his headphones last night. Very bad performance by them. Very tough to see for North Carolina fans, and you're going to have a long fucking year.
I was about to say. One other thing, just really quick with that on. As far as the UNC quarterback, he's actually been pretty good, but that was who did he play for? South Alabama maybe last year. I can't think of it right off the top of my head. But it was South Alabama or somewhere close to that. Anyway, he actually played well there. So to see him have as poor of a game as he did there versus a TCU defense that is honestly not that great. Yeah, Tar Heels fans, you're in for a long season, guys.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. JD, I fucked up. I just put on the college football recap ticker thing as we're about to move on, like just now, but we got it on the screen for you. It's there. Let's